All right, hello and welcome everyone to the Devstream 123 breakdown. We have a lot to talk about. There was a lot of cool shit shown this stream, so let's just immediately jump into it and talk about all this business, starting with the Warframe 6th anniversary stuff. So we are going to be having some kind of alert events coming up, basically, which is the War on Grineer, the War on Corpus, and the War on Infested. And these are basically going to be community goals that we're going to do and get a ton of relics from for the Saren, the Spira, and Nikana, all the primes of those, obviously. So we can get those items, and we'll have a bunch of relics to pop and get those. And also, if the community completes each of these different wars, we will have different booster weekends coming up. So that's cool. So for the 6th anniversary, I think we're going to have that in addition to usually, or probably the other stuff that we would, you know, be likely to see, like all the Dex things. So that'll be pretty cool. That's coming up for the anniversary stuff, so keep on the lookout for that. But other stuff, we've just got some kind of general notes here really quick, which is that the Chesikubro is going to be changed to be a sort of desecrate-ish effect as opposed to its useless effect as it stands now. So that's cool. It was just a minor note. The excavation and survival solo extraction changes that we've heard a little bit about here and there are supposedly coming in the next mainline update, which means basically if you are like in a survival and you're with 3 other people and they want to stay for 40 minutes, but you got shit to do today, you can leave at 15 or 20 or whatever, and then you can just go and be about your business as opposed to being stuck in a mission until more than just you wants to leave. So that's going to be really nice change, because, you know, like people should have the option to leave endless missions without like the go ahead from the rest of their party members and without losing all of their rewards. I think that's pretty fair. And then another very minor note, but is very important to me, there is going to be client-side weapon swap. So client-side weapon swap basically means that you are not going to have to ping your host before you switch your fucking weapon. So on really laggy connections, it can be incredibly shitty for you to be like, hit F to switch to my secondary, and then it's like
one eternity later, and
you just not, you don't want that. You never want to have that feeling. So basically that'll be good whenever we don't have to deal with that anymore. And then other things, and this is like also kind of minor, but I do wonder how it'll affect the game at large. This is new hit reaction stuff, and a lot of this has to do with melee, but this is shown here with guns as well. Basically, enemies are going to react more to being shot and hit and stuff, and that's just good feedback for the game, I think. I do wonder how this will affect enemies' ability to like fight us, just like when they're being shot, if it will be like way harder for them to fight back, and how that might affect kind of like the balance of the game and maybe change the survivability levels of certain Warframes. But I think it looks really nice. Like visually, it's very like good feedback. Like I can see the good feedback just from watching this. So once I get my hands on it and we're able to play with this stuff, I imagine it'll feel really good to do. And it looks like they've just done a good thing overall for the game. I do wonder how quickly this will be like available on like all enemies, because there are so many different enemy types with all their, you know, like different parts and stuff that all need like animation reactions and all this kind of business. So I do wonder like if it's just going to be like these elite lancers that we're seeing now, or like just the Grineer, or like just like humanoid units at first or whatever. But we'll see where that goes. The hit reaction thing, really cool. And then moving on, we have the Atlas stuff. So Atlas Deluxe, looks like this. As a refresher, he has a massive glute. This looks really cool, and also to show off a thing of it like kind of like as animated. Basically, it's not done yet. It needs a bunch of particle effects and things, but basically it looks really fucking cool. He's huge. Like they showed it a little bit, like just walking around on like just outside the plains, and he's gigantic. Luckily they did not make his right shoulder enormous, so aiming down sight should be fine. But yeah, looks really cool. Unfortunately, we did not get to see his special 4 rumblers that are going to be hooked up because they weren't quite done. But we should be seeing this skin pretty soon. And also, as a note here, just because we're talking about this deluxe skin, they did say that the Limbo deluxe skin is like very near being released. And they didn't really talk about it much outside of that, other than that it's basically done. Okay. Now we're through all the kind of like little stuff that doesn't really matter a huge deal. Now we can talk about Wisp and Hildren. So Wisp, straight up, looks really fucking cool. There's like not much more to it than that. Also, on the last dev stream, I mistakenly said that Wisp was a male frame because I had assumed that it was going to be a male and a female Warframe. And also in this, I think Wisp kind of looks like a little male for some reason. I don't know. That's just me. Whatever. But usually the release kind of pattern is one male frame and then one female frame. And then it goes back and forth like that all the time. But this is going to be a female frame and then a female frame. And that's unusual, which is why I just assumed that Wisp would be a male Warframe. It doesn't matter. So Wisp looks fucking cool. Wisp looks really cool. Also, Reb showed off one of her customizations for Wisp. This is it with the alt helmet. Looks fucking incredible. We know almost nothing about Wisp's powers. We know she does not have feet, so she's a Fire Emblem character. She floats and stuff, and she looks fucking cool. And most importantly, she is dummy thick. Like, what the fuck? This is thick out control. Like, how? This ghost lady is thick out control? Why is that like that? I mean, I'm not complaining, but this ghost is thick out control. So that's a good note. Anyway, let's actually talk about Hildren, which is of course the Warframe we are getting before Wisp, and all the stuff that she can do. So basically they showed off a little bit of gameplay with her with no mods against level 200 enemies. So it's really hard to tell how the numbers are actually going to be at the end, but I'm optimistic about how Hildren will turn out. So first and foremost, her passive is that she has shield gating on overshields and normal shields, and also she doesn't use energy, she uses only shields. So she gets a ton of shields, no energy. Her shields are her energy economy, and she has a custom dash that allows her to kind of like boost her around with these like things that she has coming out of her shoulders, essentially. Her one are exalted little tiny baby charge pistols that shoot explosives, and they seem cool, but maybe a little slow. But this was with no mods, and we can mod them for attack speed if they do a huge amount of damage and attack speed is more effective or whatever. We need to see the numbers on that. Regardless, they seem kind of cool. Her two, which I unfortunately missed the name of, will eat enemy shields and armor and will clear status for everyone it goes over. It's basically a kind of like mag polarized that she shoots out. It eats enemy shields and armor and gives it to Hildren, and it clears status, and it clears status for you and your entire party, as far as we were told. So that seems pretty solid. That's going to be a way for her to essentially regenerate energy for spending energy. So that's a good basically. And then we have Haven. Haven seemed to be the weirdest and weakest of the abilities because it's pretty much just seems like a shield drain. Like it connects to enemies and it drains shields from them. And that kind of seems like the same thing, only worse than her two. So that's a weird one. There might be something in there. There feels like a puzzle piece that's missing for me to like understand the use case of her three. But I don't know. We'll see whenever it comes out. It seemed really lackluster, her three. And then her four is that thing that people have been asking for Chroma to be able to do for a long time, which is she hits 4 and she goes into like a hover mode and she gets this big AoE where it constantly does damage and crowd control around her. And then the higher she goes up, the more narrow that AoE gets, and the lower to the ground she is, the bigger that AoE is. So she's going to have some pretty decent stuff, I hope. I do hope that her flying around is going to, like, in actuality, be faster than it was shown on stream, because she was real slow. Like, real slow hovering. Like, did it look cool? Yes. But you wouldn't be able to keep up with somebody at a brisk walking pace with the speed that was shown off of that 4. So we'll see how that goes in the end. Overall, the damage numbers that we were seeing, like for like absolute baseline, considering like it seemed like everything was kind of pretty much able to be boosted by like separate modding, like her 1 and stuff. Also, she can use her like exalted like pistol dealios while flying around and stuff, and that's cool. Once all that stuff is boosted up by mods, it'll probably be a lot more impressive. Also, against level 200 enemies, it's kind of hard to tell how it's going to like be in actual content, especially given the no mod status of it. But yeah, it seems like it has a ton of potential, and I really want to try Hildren out. I think she's going to be really cool. They also like very minorly showed off her like signature weapon, which just seems like it's going to be a rad Arcwing gun that is just really flashy. So I'll be testing that as well, and that'll probably be super rad. Moving on, we have a bunch of other shit still. You thought this was over? It's not. First and foremost, Railjack. I just want to say again, Railjack, the clan will be required for Railjack. If you do not have a clan, join one, because you're going to need one. If you do not want to join one, make a ghost clan and fucking get started so that you can be ready for railjack stuff, because the clan will be completely required to do it. You need to basically build like a dry dock for your huge fucking ship on your clan. Very important. And then, way more important news, we have new cosmetic types. These are going to be earnable only in a variety of ways, and they're called Ephemera, which are foot trails and auras. I'm just going to put a clip in here so you can see what those are.
Yeah, so this one will allow you to have sort of a edgy smoke. This one you'll get from the stalker. And then the shocking step, I can't tell you where you get that from yet, but as you walk around, other players and you will notice your shocking foot trails. So you'll be able to look pretty badass as you walk.
They look fucking awesome. They look extremely cool. I have talked about these types of things that are present in other games like Path of Exile and like a bunch of other like MMOs that all have like the cool auras and shit you can equip. Having them in Warframe, oh, outstanding. I can't fucking wait to just go and collect all these things. It's what this actually seems like to me is basically, this is the God, I forget what they're called. The mods that don't do anything that come from ESO. I'll put the actual name of those damn things on stream. I haven't thought about them for a long time. This is basically the cool and good version of that useless shit. So I can't fucking wait for this because it's going to be outstanding. And then besides that, we have Jupiter rework stuff. And there's one specific thing I want to note on the Jupiter rework stuff. And it's a weird note that I want to make here. And it's the new doors. They're adding new doors to it. So these are the new Corpus doors. So Corpus doors, whenever security goes off and a camera sees you, lasers turn on in the door and they just knock you down. These are a complete reimagining of how that works. So you can see here in this image in the top right, you have like those lights. Those lights are present, as you can see on the door further in the back, whether the door is closed or open. So you can see that the door after this one will have the lasers at the bottom and the door here has the lasers at the top. So you slide under this and you get a speed boost. If you go through it, there's no penalty, but if you avoid it, you get like a boost. That is fucking excellent design. I cannot possibly praise doing that enough. There is not a single amount of praise that I could possibly give the decision to make these a like reward structure as opposed to like a punish structure. It is so incredibly smart to do that, and like absolute fucking props to whoever at DE was like, we should make this the reverse of what it is, because oh my god, that will be really fun to master. But yeah, I know that's like a weird tangent for me to go on, but it is gonna be really fun, and that's gonna be present in the Jupiter rework. And honestly, I hope it fucking replaces all goddamn Corpus doors in this entire game with this system as soon as possible, because I'm so sick of the knockdown lasers coming on like on the fucking frame that I entered the door frame and knocking me down. It is incredibly frustrating because you can roll through those lasers and not deal with them, but whenever you can't dodge it frame perfect in Warframe. That's not how it works. But yeah, anyway, that's like a weird tangent to go on, but it really matters to me. I know that's dumb. But yeah, super cool. Anyway, there are also going to be new enemies and new mods in the Jupiter rework, including one mod that is very strange in that it gives us more melee range whenever we are airborne, which we don't have a lot of airborne attacks, but maybe with some of the melee 2.9999997, which is weirdly what they're calling it because it's not quite 3.0 yet, we will see a little bit of that type of mod maybe becoming useful, because it appeared to add quite a bit of range, and I don't know if it affects slam attacks. So I'm very excited to test those new mods when Jupiter stuff comes out. But melee 2.9997 or whatever the fuck is coming out probably next week, provided there are not any catastrophes, which, you know, those sometimes happen. So next week we are getting instant switching. What does that mean? What the hell is instant switching? Basically, you have your gun out, you are shoot man, you hit E, you are now switched to your melee weapon completely. You have access to its complete full suite of combos, all that shit. All that shit is active now. Like, you hit E, instantaneously you are now using your full like motherfuck melee weapon. It is time to hit man. And then if you left click, which is shoot, you instantaneously switch back to your gun. So F is switch between guns, and then like E is immediately melee. Left click is immediately gun. So even on stream with the like really wonky setup Rebecca had to use, like I do not envy like her needing to show stuff off with like the weird like lap board setup she has to use on streams. Even with that wonky setup, she was able to do like a slam with a melee weapon, launch an enemy into the air, and then whip out dual pistols and start doing Devil May Cry shit. So like that's gonna be fucking fun. And also, some of that Devil May Cry shit is because they are also adding the aimed slams in this update, and those are one of the things that I can't wait for, because slam attacks are pretty okay as they stand right now. They just don't really have a huge radius where you can slam guys from the air, and this is adding a large radius where you can very easily just like slam into a group of enemies and get like a big knockdown or like a fly into the air effect and that kind of stuff. And it looks very, very exciting. They're not changing any of the melee mods that we have right now. They are just adding this stuff and like adding like new hit effects and new sounds and things. And all of that stuff seems like huge improvements to the game that are going to make a whole bunch of things just flow way, 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 way better. Also of note, it is going to make certain secondary weapons way more powerful, because if you have like a condition overload enabler secondary, or even a primary, I suppose, you can just like enable condition overload huge and then just immediately swing your melee weapon at full power into them, and then immediately switch back to shoot like more enabling shots with like AoE weapons that enable condition overload to go insane. And there's going to be some cool combo shit that I'm going to be testing on stream to see how it does. Cannot wait for so much of the stuff here. Hildren looks potentially extremely good. Wisp, it's dummy thick, so that's a bonus. The Alice Deluxe looks really good. Like the new cosmetics are extremely exciting to me. The new melee stuff seems super fun. Also, I totally skipped over it. There are 2 new Covet Breeds coming. That's probably going to be a while because they are in the design council right now for like suggestions and things on what those are actually going to be. So we have no clue what that is. We just know new Covets are coming. So much stuff that is really exciting and that I really want to test is on the way. And oh man, I'm just very excited. And that's the Devstream 123 breakdown. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I need that melee update and stuff, and I need these updates real soon. I need them in my life. So yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow. I might be streaming over on the Twitch, so you should check. You should check and see if I'm on the streaming, because there might be a stream when this video goes up, or maybe a little bit later tonight. So yeah, anyway, I will see you guys later. Thank you guys for watching, and goodbye.